Right now, more than 70 million people around the world are displaced by conflict and crisis. This is an unprecedented number. Many are women and children who face unique challenges. For over 30 years, the Women's Refugee Commission has advanced its mission to improve the lives and protect the rights of women, children, and young people caught up in humanitarian crises. Our work today is more urgent than ever. These 4 stories shine a light on our partners and on our impact. For more than a decade, the Women's Refugee Commission has worked on the front lines to advance migrant rights and justice efforts at the US-Mexico border.
The ACLU brought the family litigation lawsuit in 2018. We could not have done that without WRC, and in fact, WRC found us the lead plaintiff.
We work to ensure that the legal and human rights and dignity of migrant, stateless, and refugee women and children are respected and protected.
Since we had a victory, we've now had to look for thousands of parents all over the world. WRC has rolled up their sleeves at a drop of a hat. They're down at the border, talking to vulnerable migrants, talking to NGO partners, and bridging that gap.
As part of our work on economic empowerment and self-reliance, we found that the unique needs of refugee youth were not being met. We led the way to mobilize refugee youth and provide support to develop a comprehensive response created by them and for them.
I participated in the global Refugee Youth consultation led by UNHCR and the Women's Refugee Commission. And this consultation was part of a global effort that involved over 1,500 refugees in more than 22 countries. There I was able to share my views, discuss solutions, and make policy recommendations, and represent young refugees around the world who are voiceless.
By working directly with refugee youth, we support their efforts to increase their own self-reliance and resilience, restore their dignity and choice, and protect them from harm.
There are a lot of refugees experiencing traumas almost daily, and particularly women and girls who are isolated in camps, who cannot really function in the country because there is no psychosocial support provided. Mental health and psychosocial support should be implemented in every humanitarian action. From my experience, I was given the opportunity to get education and function in the country and give back. And that's why we are always asking for funding and for open opportunities to really train us, and then we can support our communities.
Much of our work is focused on better understanding and illuminating the needs of women in particular, so that aid organizations can be more effective. In monitoring the conditions in refugee camps in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh, we recognized the need for a comprehensive gender audit to assess the well-being of Rohingya refugee women and girls.
So this study for us is very key in helping and offering technical advice to our partners and sectors, how best to mainstream gender and how best to meet the needs of the women and girls.
Understanding the specific experience of Rohingya women was critical to the Women's Refugee Commission's ability to advocate for services that directly address their unique needs.
What this study does is that it helps us to meet the needs of refugee women and girls because it is not based on assumptions. Therefore, it will help us to design programs that meaningfully engaging with women and girls in terms of decision-making, planning, and monitoring of their programs. Because what we seek to see in the camps is that women's voices and agencies recognized in terms of the programming that we deliver as humanitarian agencies.
In Quito, Ecuador, we worked with partner organizations to provide a valuable tool to help refugees become more self-reliant.
So the work that we are doing with the Women's Refugee Commission and with the Selfreliant Index is very important, as this allows us to target the most vulnerable refugees.
It seems so simple, but by measuring the comprehensive well-being of women, we learn what works. In turn, the services of aid organizations can become much more effective.
In the pilot with the refugee women, we could identify the basic needs of the refugees, but also the abilities and skills so they can have a better economic integration in the country.
In addition to the 4 stories you just heard, the Women's Refugee Commission is working to develop programs that leverage the skills of adolescent girls, strengthen economic opportunities for women, and elevate gender equality across all our work. We are committed to catalyzing transformative change to protect and empower women, children, and young people displaced by conflict and crisis. This is our work. We move refugees from survival to independence. Join us. Your support will create a better world for refugee women and children. To learn more, please visit womensrefugeecommission.org.